Okay, so the next thing is to say, okay, so how are we actually going to, produce this mobilisation? That's the next key sort of argument area, I think. So you've established these national working groups, and they're, doing key things. You might want to mention finance and fundraising, media, mobilisation, IT, all the things that you need to have in a central system. Okay, so mass mobilisation. The first thing to explain about mass mobilisation is there's going to be full-time mobilisers. So you need to make arguments about why a full-time mobiliser who's paid the living, a voluntary living expense, which we'll come on to money later. Why is that a good idea? So again, you've got a major culture change. I mean, for a lot of people, they'll go, yeah, that sounds all right. But again, a lot of people in some social movement background might be going, ooh, hang on a minute, that's a bit dodgy. Well, why don't we just have volunteers? Money's a bad idea. It all sounds a bit hierarchical, blah, blah, blah. So you need to make clear why it works, again, empirically. So again, you don't need to say the word empirical. You see, like there's good evidence, or we can show that this works, and why does it work? So I said, I've got like 4 points here. So first of all, if you've got like full-time people and they're working every day and they're properly managed, then you can standardize the approach. And standardization basically means you get a better quality of activity. And in this case, a better quality of activity in terms of setting up groups, which then will lead to mobilisation, which will then lead to getting us 50,000 people, which will lead to saving our children. So this is like a critical element, is that quality control that comes from being able to standardise it, because you've got a whole bunch of people, at work at 9 o'clock in the morning every day, in teams, accountable, writing down what they're doing. It's a professional operation, basically. Secondly, you can provide like proper support. So a lot of volunteers and a lot of social movements, people get burnt out all the time, and it's confusing, and there's loads of things going on, it's complex and it's a bit lost, you don't really know what the aim is, So with this, it's like the mass mobilisers have a particular job description to set up groups and to get them to mobilise. They know what they're doing and they can get support. So support means you've actually got a full-time person ringing them up every week or 2 weeks to check they're okay, doing trainings, enabling them to be accountable, getting them to meet together for mutual support and information sharing. So again, you've got like, it's not some inhuman hierarchy type situation, it's actually the opposite of that. People are happy because they feel supported in their work. So that's the second element. The third element, and this is specific, I suppose, to having people full-time. When you've got people working full-time, there's strong evidence for this, like setting up 20 groups in 4 weeks in London was done, you can use that as an example. That was done by having a team that was working full-time, 15 people. They identified how they were going to set up groups, and then it went bang, 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 and set them up. So basically you're concentrating a lot of labour time, a lot of people's skills, a really standardised system into a particular context, which is setting up XR groups, in Tennessee, let's say. So you split Tennessee into 50, districts, let's say, for the sake of argument, and then you go, right, Joe and Jack, you're going to go to district 1, 2, 3, 4, in the next week and set up groups there, and Fred and Jane, they're going to be going to these ones, and you've got a system, and you can focus on that because they're there 10, 12 hours a day getting on with it. And the fourth, is it the fourth reason? Yeah, the fourth argument, and this is like counteracts the sort of centralisation versus decentralisation sort of, big feud, as it were, in social movements, is to say, look, there's strong evidence to show that if you want to effectively decentralise the movement, then what you have to do is properly support the decentralisation. If you set loads of groups up, strong evidence to show they get taken over by ideological people, or people with, who are psychologically challenged, or whatever the euphemism is, who are basically going to frighten up for everyone else or make it an unpleasant experience. You're not going to have a training program and all the rest of it. What you need to ensure that, or what makes it more likely that you're going to ensure effective decentralisation, is paradoxically a centralised group that provides standardised trainings, standardised support, and someone there at the end of the phone because they're actually being paid to do it. rather than, you know, volunteer that's just, you know, may turn up or may not turn up. Now, none of that is like airtight. You know, it can be centralized groups that, you know, are really rubbish. So you've got to have good management, and arguably that's what XR America is doing. And a little sort of add-on to that, of course, is that through working with local people, then you can headhunt the mass mobilization full-time teams, could headhunt people that can only work at weekends, say they've got a full-time job, working the evenings, working the evenings and weekends. They can then say, you can recruit them to help you. So it actually increases volunteers, because you can say, oh, you know, I'm really into mass mobilization. That's fantastic. Do you want to help me set up groups, you know, every Saturday? Yeah, I'll come with you, you know, and help you. And then you can have a training program, so they, you know, get to know how to do that well. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, they can set up their own groups, right? Because you're confident. But again, there's some sort of quality control aspect to it, because they're being properly trained. So again, that's not guaranteed to happen, but what we're saying is if that's like tied into their job description, which is, you know, in every group to find a local mass mobilizer, then that's one of the things they're accountable for. So they're accountable for creating not only robust decentralized groups, but also like active mobilizers in a decentralized sort of framework.